Welcome, welcome, welcome. Once again, I'd like to say that I continue to be called Dr. Arnold Nerenberg. I says it jokingly, but it's true. And I've been licensed as a clinical psychologist in the state of California since 1974. I've been in the profession for well over 50 years now. So I can say, finally know what I'm doing. That's the good news for all the people that come to see me. I walked upon this earth, well, it'll be 84 years next month. So between my life experiences, what I've learned, university was part of it, but what I've learned from all of you and my own life, and being married and 7 children and having businesses and a lot of things in life that I've gone through and being a witness to life. I have a lot I want to give to you. And today I want to give all the mothers a big shout out. And the title of today's presentation is Enhancing Body Image for Postpartum Women. Enhancing body image for postpartum women. I see so many postpartum women, lovely, beautiful young ladies. How amazing they are. They went through the pain of childbirth, all the years of pregnancy, at that time of 9 months without pregnancy, approximately 9 months, could be a little more, a little less. Not easy. And then our wonderful women, the mothers, are there taking care of the babies, breastfeeding, producing that milk, having gone through either C-section or vaginal delivery, either one. It's a very painful process. The most important job in the world, being a mother. You're amazing, absolutely amazing. And from all of us, we appreciate you. We know it's a tough journey. We know it's lonely. I mean, we all want somebody to talk to, and as much as you love your baby or babies, you really need an adult to talk to, and you're not having much of that. And some of you have help of your mother-in-law, your mother, or a sister, or your spouse, your partner, your boyfriend. But when it comes down to it, it's on you. It's on you. 24/7, no escape. You're waking up at night, baby's getting up, you're sleep deprived, you're lonely. Then you have other responsibilities around the house, maybe to other children, and then to your spouse or your partner or your boyfriend. God bless you. What a magnificent human being you are. Magnificent. I wrote a poem for my mom, passed away about 9 years ago. And I think your own sons and daughters could write something like this for you. I wrote it for my mom while she was alive. So I'm going to read this poem. I had it done in calligraphy. Mom, what have you shown me of life? What of me is from you? How well do you remember the pain of my birth? As the years go by, you give me the honor of being a strength to you. As with all children, I am selfish and think mostly of my needs and ask for your help. But if I can give you joy and make you happy that you have a son, then I can count myself a man. So I wrote that poem. Deeply touches me to even read it. It's really all men talking to their mothers. All men talking to their mothers. All men could relate to that poem towards their mother. Anybody with a normal mother, that's the feeling. So much respect to all of you. So much respect. And gratitude. Your daughters phrase it in a different way, but it's there. What a powerful connection. You are amazing. And as grateful as we are, we can never be grateful enough to the sacrifices you're making for us, that you made for your babies, for your children. Amazing. And thank God women can do that, because as men, we have our strengths, and that's not one of them. That kind of patience and taking care of all those things that you're doing. I'm not even talking about the biological functions, just being able to have that patience and that givingness that you have is transcendental. It's deeply spiritual. It's one of the most amazing things on earth. Now, so that's a salute to all mothers. But what it did to your body is pretty rough. All women put on a lot of weight. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds. So you had that beautiful womanly body. Your stomach blew way up. The baby comes out, either vaginally or C-section, and there's a lot of things going on with the tummy. And you look in the mirror, and you see, many of our people think that I'm just not the woman I was. Don't feel as attractive, don't feel as sexy, don't feel as hot. This is normal. And your libidos, though, you don't feel that sexual. Your breasts that were part of a sexual thing before, now part of just nursing, giving milk to the baby. The vagina is part of a sexual aspect. Sexual pleasure was just a delivery system. It all changes. In fact, the libido goes down. So most of our people aren't feeling that sexual towards their partners right now. And that can become an issue for sure. I've had postpartum women who are ready to be sexually active, in 2 months. I had one in 9 months that want her husband touching her. So there's a lot of those kind of changes. And typically, postpartum women feel their bellies are just not where they want to be. That's almost universal. And some with the breasts, it's got saggier. And then after breastfeeding, whatever, it gets even saggier afterwards. And so they want to find natural ways to have breast lifts. And if I ask a woman, how would you rate yourself from 1 to 5 and how attractive you are? A lot of my people say 0, 1, 2, or 3. It's kind of low. And I'm looking at them, I go, that's mental, because I'm looking at you. You look like higher than that. Generally speaking, people are underestimating their attractiveness, but the women are comparing themselves how they look before they had their baby, or they're comparing themselves to how other women look on the internet, or other actresses and look after they've had their babies. Of course, they have life coaches and cooks and chefs. There are many aspects to help them really look great. But so a lot of you are really more beautiful than you think you are, physically even. I'm not even talking about spiritually and psychologically. I'm more beautiful than you think you are, but in your own eyes, you're not. So, your husband, I'm sure, your spouse, your partner tells you, yeah, I'm attracted to you, you're a good-looking woman. And you just think he's saying that to make you feel good. You look in the mirror and you know for certain you're just not the woman you were. That's rough. Wow. Because beauty is such a big factor for women in our society. Well, it's always been like that. Beauty for women for thousands of years have been a huge factor. No way around it. I want to give you a thought. And of course, you want to look as good as you can. But in terms of even losing weight, you don't want to do it while you're breastfeeding. But when you finish breastfeeding, you can then start losing the weight, eating broccoli or broccoli and chicken breast. There are many natural ways to get the weight off. But so I help my people, figure out some kind of routine that's going to help them with themselves physically. Then, of course, I have to always say, talk to your doctor about it. But at a psychological level, even spiritual level, It's important that you recite this 3 times a day. My self-respect and self-esteem depend only on my honor. My self-respect and self-esteem depend only on my honor. Because just look, you had that look before, you felt you were a good-looking woman, or better looking than you are now. Look how fragile that physical beauty is. If the pregnancy diminished it in your eyes, you became sick, or God forbid, at a crash and a collision, you get all scarred up, aging, things will start sagging. You want to look good. I'm not trying to get around that. Look as good as you can. Take good care of yourself. But while you're doing that, you also want to have your self-esteem and self-respect tied to your honor, not to your physical beauty. So my self-respect and self-esteem depend only on my honor, because time can't take away your honor. Illness, sickness, accidents can't take away your honor. Somebody's negative words about who you are can't take it away. My self-esteem and self-respect depend only on my honor. Everybody should be following that. I repeat that myself. For men, a lot of times it's tied to our livelihood, other factors in life. For women, it's their looks. For men, it's typically income. I just think that's the spot to have it. That's something nobody can take away. Time and circumstance can't take that away from you. So while you're making yourself beautiful, you're already a beautiful human being, a beautiful woman. But you want to also deal with it at the physical level, but at the spiritual and psychological level. So when we say it depends only on your honor, I'm defining honor this way. Honor is loyalty to your highest constructive values as enshrined in the 4 commands of honor, while striving to cause no harm physically and emotionally. Honor is loyalty to your highest constructive values as enshrined in the 4 commands of honor, while striving to cause no harm physically and emotionally. Now then we go into the 4 commands of honor. You want to be, because you want it to depend on your honesty, you want to follow these 4 commands of honor. 4 commands of honor are these. I wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems. I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship. And then 1 of 2, depends whether you believe in God or not. If you believe in God as I do, it's God, your wish is my only wish. If you don't believe in God or don't want to address God, it's I seek always to serve my highest values. So those are the 4 commands of honor. That's the basis of when you talk about your self-respect and self-esteem depend only on your honor. It has to do with following those 4 commands of honor. And then you want to commit yourself all your life to that. You can just commit inwardly, or you can take this pledge. As a disciple of honor, I pledge myself all the days of my life to the 4 commands of honor. And I'll teach them to those I love. I'll recite them every morning, afternoon, and evening, and listen to myself recite them. See, committing to a lifetime. Every session, every time I meet with any of my people, anytime nurse practitioner Bert meets with any of these people, we emphasize you want to keep this up for a lifetime. And then Amber, she'll be coming on staff, an excellent therapist, excellent human being, she'll be doing that also. You want to keep this up all your life. That's key. And keep in mind that repetition is preparation for application to achieve stabilization. You know, when you lovely young ladies are getting hormonal and you're up and down, you need a way to stabilize yourself. And doing those commands at least 3 times a day will help stabilize you. You may stray off this way and that way and this way and that way, but then you come back on the path. You do a little deep breathing with it. That long exhale calms down your sympathetic nervous system, which is the source of creating fight and flight and anxiety. So you want to calm that down. And a long exhale, try to do it 4 times an hour. Even if you don't get it for you, you aspire to that. Then you want to optimize the probability that you're going to apply those commands in any situation. So we have what I call the bridge. And the bridge is this: what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? What's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? Is that when you're in a situation and you're much more overreactive at postpartum, maybe more hormonal, normal? And then you go, what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? So even though you're surging up and down with maybe an overreaction, but you then look for the honorable way to deal with it. That's going to be very good for you and for your relationships. The more harmony you have in your household, the better that is for the baby. The baby picks up everything. So doing the commands of honor in the bridge takes 12 seconds. You want to do it 3 times a day for life. That's 36 seconds a day. You can be in a shower. You could be driving. You could be feeding the baby. Just want to keep reminding yourself. I also call them, I call the 4 commands of honor. But I've also called them the 4 commandments of honor. I've called them the 4 principles of honor. I've called them the 4 reminders of honor. So I like the 4 commands. I typically use that more now. I want to normalize your experience. Being overreactive is normal. Inwardly overreactive. Worrying about your baby and children, obsessing over that is normal. You have that mama instinct to make sure the baby survives. So a lot of my people say, I never used to be this anxious, never be that worried. But this is how you stay focused on the survival of your baby. There's a survival benefit to that. All you can do is try to shine a little bit of light into that darkness, which is something like, if you believe in God, it would be, God willing, I'll be fine. Doesn't make your worry go away, just puts a little bit of light in the darkness. If you don't believe in God, say, I'll be fine. Or it could be, God willing, we'll be fine. Or we'll be fine. Or hopefully we'll be fine. Some variation that fits for you. Hopefully we're going to be fine. Hopefully my baby will be fine. The positive self-talk, and this is using one of the laws of honor, I'll be fine. So that kind of overreaction, the worrying, is normal. The tendency to overreact is normal. The low libido for a while is normal. The loneliness that you have because you're not having adult company, normal. Feeling overwhelmed is normal. I want to really normalize this for you because so many of you think, oh my God, you feel so alone in it. This is very universal. Now, it's good to show if your husband or your boyfriend or fiance, or whatever, can watch this video, because it's good whatever support he could give, help him understand what you go through. Just have an understanding so you feel understood. And I'm sure he appreciates you, but this help appreciate you even more. You're amazing. What you're doing is amazing. I'd rather be out digging dishes as a laborer or psychologist or anything. I wouldn't want to be home doing that. And a lot of men wouldn't. It's more in your nature than ours. And you're better at it than we are. And we're grateful. Grateful that you can do that. And you brought our children into the world. Your partner, your husband, should be very grateful that he went through all this to bring his child here. And seeing this video might help with that. Guys, if you're watching this, we need to be understanding of our women and grateful. And be supportive in every way that we can. If you're watching this, you new fathers, young fathers, we want to show all the love, all the patience that we can towards our women, the mother of our child, the mother of our children, and ultimate respect, and knowing not only are they doing something biologically that we can't do, but emotionally and physiologically, they're dealing with a lot, and we don't ever have to do that. So the appropriate response from us is gratitude, and to do all we can to give some help in any way we can. I know you guys are coming home tired, but whatever you can do, certainly at least to show gratitude to your woman, at least that. Of course, if you can clean up a little bit or cook, that's great. But certainly at the minimum, we need to show gratitude and respect to our women. Tough job. And if you've been watching this video, guys, I've been laying out just a fraction of what's going on. Now, of course, the true responsibility of the mother and the father is the spiritual guidance of the child, to show the child the way of honor, show them whatever spiritual, religious path you have, help them come into that, have them understand the need to respect your parents. You show that unconditional love, and on the other hand, you expect and demand to have unconditional respect for you. I should also add that so many women going through this major change go through depression, anxiety, panic attacks. It's a great oppression. And then the partners, the husbands, we need to appreciate this is what our women are going through. These tremendous emotional upheavals. It's a lot. It's a lot. Well, and then besides being overwhelmed or depressed and anxious, and keep in mind the anxiety and the worry is normal for our women to have that, because they want to make sure the baby survives. Normal, helps survival. Well, it's been my pleasure to present to you Enhancing the Body Image for Postpartum Women. Of course, I expanded even beyond that in this presentation. Now I want to open it up to our very excellent people who are here, because what I have to say is helpful to you, but what each of you says is even more helpful to each other, because people feel less alone when they hear what others have to say. So at this point, I want to open this up to all our excellent people who are here, our beautiful human beings that are here. Your questions, your comments are welcome now. Yeah, Hugh.
I think one of the reasons that postpartum women feel fear of their body not being what it used to be is because during the dating phase, most of the compliments they get from their partner is a compliment about their appearance.
Yeah, so Hugh was saying what during the dating phase, most women were getting a lot of compliments about their appearance, and so now they're maybe not getting that as much, and so that's a big loss, and a lot of our women feel unattractive. But as I said, I find postpartum women underestimate their beauty, and I'm not just saying that. It's usually a couple of steps beyond what they're rating themselves. But it doesn't matter what I think. They've already made this negative story because they compared themselves to how they were before. So, men, whatever beauty you see in your women, it has to be sincere. I certainly would express it. And certainly express the gratitude and the enormous sacrifice that your women have made to bring this baby into the world. Enormous. Certainly you should be in a state of gratitude around your woman. No matter how tired you are, or whatever things you're upset with, that gratitude should be there.
I think also expressing how proud you are of them.
Yeah, Hugh's saying to express how proud you are. Well, certainly you want to say, I'm very proud of you that you're able to handle this. I'm very proud of you that you're taking such good care of our baby. I'm out of the house. I'm working. I'm so proud. I'm so happy that you can be doing this without me even there most of the time. And or if they're not, if your woman's not having help from in-laws or whatever, saying, I know it's a lot on you, and I'll always be grateful to you for this. You need to express that, and it has to be heartfelt. You just say this. Thank you, Hugh. Who else would like to make a comment or ask a question?
Dr. Nerenberg.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I hear you and I see you. Please state your name.
Hey, brother, it's Alan Smith.
Alan Smith. There you go, Alan.
Hey, man, look, I respect you so much for touching bases on this, because I see so much, and I think that social media is like one of the worst things for some women, because, everybody thinks that, like, oh, this beauty queen, they think that all these beauty queens are like, every man wants a beauty queen. But ultimately, like, you don't know what those girls got to offer you. They might not even be good for you.
Well,
and
okay.
Like some of these girls, they go through all these things because maybe their men have girls on their social media that are pretty, and they're trying to live up to that, but we can't live up to everybody else's standards.
Alan, let me interrupt you. This is wonderful, wonderful points, Alan. I'm so glad you brought this up. Yeah, you beautiful, lovely ladies. Alan's right. I know a lot of you comparing yourself to women you see on the internet, on social apps. And even more, you're comparing yourself with how you look compared to how you were before you had the babies. Then you want to go to having some sense of how amazing you are, and sticking with my self-respect and self-esteem depend only on my honor. And I know I can't talk any of you into thinking you're more attractive than you think you are. I know that. But I've told so many of you, no, you're far underrating yourself. So I know across the board that postpartum women are underrating them, because you have these comparison things going on. You're more beautiful than that. But I understand that probably doesn't reach you. Certainly, if any of the men are watching, if you want to, whatever compliment that you can genuinely give to your woman, do it. Do it. And, those bodies, pretty girls you see on the internet, they may be very pretty. They didn't just have a baby. But show a picture, 2 days after she had a baby. Let's see how she was looking. That compared to that. Now, so it's but Alan is right. I mean, that comparison is going on. This is one way of dealing with it. But just know that that's some of the source of the misery.
I'm not trying to be right or wrong. I just see things. I just wanted to say
Alan, let me tell you,
I see a lot of women going through these things, and it's like, man, dude, like, a lot of dudes don't have respect too. A lot of people don't have respect, and it's like,
well, here's the thing, Alan. That point is valid. I know you don't care if it's right or wrong. It's right. That's definitely going on. And also comparing how they were before the pregnancy. Thank you so much, Alan. Who else has something you'd like to ask or say?
Hey, thank you, Doctor.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Thank you for that, Alan. I appreciate it.
Hey, Doctor.
Yeah, Hugh.
One of the things that women can do is, a lot of actresses have been made up by professionals, and now you can see what the actresses look like without makeup. And the side-by-side comparison sometimes is shocking.
Yeah, but he's making a point that a lot of these actresses have really high-end makeup artists working on them. And if you see a comparison with them made up or without the makeup, he's saying it's shocking. That might give you some consolation. But ultimately, you need to understand how amazing you are, and that you are more beautiful than you think you are. I've seen it across the board. And you're being very hard on yourself. My conclusion after doing this for a long time is that postpartum women, your sense of not liking your body is more mental than your physical look. I can tell you right now. Absolutely. It's some kind of mental thing because of a comparison you have of how you were versus how you are now, or how these other women look on the internet. But like Hugh said, if you show with or without the makeup of some of these beauties on the internet, big difference. Yeah, then you can see all their imperfections. And here's a crazy thing, all right? You look at those gorgeous women knockouts on the internet. But if one of them gets a pimple, believe me, they don't feel attractive. They don't feel attractive. Take the most gorgeous woman in the world, get a little pimple, I look so ugly. And I'll tell you another thing. You take the most beautiful woman in the world, take out these 4 teeth right in the front, right there. And then let her then smile without those teeth. That's how fragile beauty is. She's going to look awful, awful. Of course, if she gets some implants or dentures or whatever. But that's how fragile it is. That's why, in addition to dealing with your physical beauty, I want you to say, my self-esteem and self-respect depend only on my honor. So we're going in that direction while you're working on yourself from a physical point of view, in terms of exercise, nutrition, so forth. Excellent point. Who else would like to make a comment or ask a question?
Dr. Nerenberg, Diego here.
Diego, good to see you again, Diego. Very
Likewise,
good to see you.
Good to see you, Doctor. Great presentation as usual. And I just wanted to send a message here, particularly to the single mothers out there. I myself was raised by a single mother, and I know the sacrifice and hard work that it takes to basically pay both the mother and father role to children. So just wanted to congratulate those women and just know that from a man's standpoint, I really do admire women that have that in them to raise a child on their own.
Boy, I've met some awesome sons and daughters that were raised by single moms. And I knew that the moms had to be amazing to bring children like that. I mean, amazing. I've seen amazing people. And the mothers, some of these mothers had 2 to 3 jobs and did all they could, sacrifice their lives for their children, and were amazing. These are the true heroes and heroines of our society. I like to make statues of them, not just of these politicians and generals in the military, for these mothers, for God's sakes. These are the unsung heroes and heroines of our times. Unbelievable. Very well said. Thank you for that, Diego.
Thank you, Doctor.
Good to see you again. Yeah.
Likewise.
Excellent.
Hi, Dr. Nerenberg. It's Mika.
Mika. Yes. Hi.
I just wanted to say that this presentation really resonated with me, and I really appreciate all the videos that you produce for us and our one-on-one conversations each month. They're very helpful, and I still struggle, but I do appreciate the work that you put in.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. It means a lot to me, Mika. I regard it honestly as a privilege to be able to present this to you, a privilege and a great enjoyment to be able to present this, because all the experiences of a lifetime have more meaning because I can share it with you and our wonderful people here. So I also thank you for being receptive to what I bring. So it's a two-way street, very much 2 ways. Thank you for that. Anybody else have something you want to ask or say?
Hi, Dr. Nerenberg. It's Tracy.
Tracy, you're here.
I am.
I'm so happy to hear from you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be a part of this. I wanted to comment on this whole topic today, because even if you lost a child, you can still have postpartum issues. Your bladder changes, your hair falls out. And then you still have to go with your mental state and just try to and be normal. And it's not easy.
I'm Tracy, my dear goddaughter. I'm glad you brought that up. Any woman that's been pregnant, whether it went full term or there was a miscarriage, you're still a mother. There's still a soul that was created. So you have all the rights of all entitlements of being a mother. You are a mother. If you had a miscarriage, my wife and I had 1 miscarriage. I have a total of 7 children. With my ex, we had 1 miscarriage. With my wife, we had 1 miscarriage. Those children are souls. And in fact, and the depression that comes from that is much worse even than the normal postpartum depression. But anybody who had that miscarriage has sacrificed enormously, went through the whole aspect of pregnancy, the hopes, the aspirations, the dreams, and then the miscarriage of losing the baby. Nothing but admiration and respect for mothers whose children didn't reach full term, but there's a soul that's on the other side who lives in a very pure state. I really appreciate you saying that, Tracy. That's very. I'm really happy you said that, and I know where that came from. I know where. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then you have a lot of mothers who didn't biologically have a child. There are many women who are very motherly and maternal to their nieces, their nephews, to friends. So that motherliness is there in our mothers, even though they didn't birth a child. So most women, whether they birth a child or not, are mothers, and they give that motherly love, that nurturance to those around them. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful attribute of all you ladies. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Tracy. I'm glad you're here, Tracy. Good to hear from you again. Yeah. Anybody else have something you want to ask or say?
Doctor,
Yeah, Hugh.
a friend of mine's wife was 8.5 months pregnant when she found out that the baby had died, and she had to give birth to the baby. And it's almost been 10 years, and she still is traumatized.
Still grieves it. So he was saying a friend of hers, his wife had a baby, it was 8.5 months, and then found out the baby had been with her for a while, but been deceased, had passed away. And so it was a stillbirth. And 10 years later, she's still traumatized by it. That's a great tragedy. She has a child. The child is not here physically. There's a soul at conception. The soul is going on. And you'll be rejoined. Maybe the child might even visit in dreams. But it's tragic, and that person is a mother, has gone through the ultimate sacrifice of losing her child. It's huge. And the only thing that's some comfort is that there's an eternal soul, if a person believes that. I certainly do. And that we can have a communion. We can pray for the progress of that soul. We'll be rejoined when we leave here. We'll be rejoined, and that person may come visit us in our dreams, and the child left in a totally pure state. So those who can accept that spiritual reality have a comfort. Without that, it's even more oppressive. But I hear that, and thanks for sharing that. I had my Aunt Frida. She was the most beloved of our aunts, and she had about 8 stillbirths. She just couldn't breathe. So she ended up adopting a daughter. So my Uncle Morris went out and just adopted her, brought her home. But about 8 stillbirths, it was just traumatic. She wasn't able to bear children, live children. So, but she had many children that are going on as souls, but it was very difficult. But she had a very positive outlook on life, and she had her adopted child, then her grandchildren. So she was, because of who she was, she made peace with it and did well. That was rare, though. Rare. She was an amazing individual, my Aunt Frida. Thanks for mentioning that, Hugh. Anybody else have anything else you want to ask or say, keeping in mind that what you say or you ask is going to help everybody here?
Hi, Dr. Nerenberg. This is Melissa.
Hey, Melissa.
Hey. I've been in the same situation. You know, I was pregnant for like 4.5 months. And I did lose the baby too. And I was like always questioning, like, why, God? Like, why am I going through this? You know, and I was like falling into a dark place. But I do have like some friends where, you know, they lost the baby and like they hate God, you know?
That happens with some people,
they
yes.
Won't even like go to church. They're actually getting married this year, and like they don't want anything to do with like, religion or anything. So I was just wondering, like, how could they feel like that?
Well, it's not uncommon. People, even in warfare, they see the bloodshed. They say, how could there be a God? Of course, we have free will. And so that's how some of our bloodshed happens. But in terms of losing the baby, the only thing I could say from a spiritual point of view is that the child goes on in a pure state without any sin or any wrongdoing. And there's a certain recompense on the other side that we over here can't understand, that there is a soul formed at conception, and this soul goes on. It's eternal. Now, if they accept that, they realize they didn't lose the baby, just the baby wasn't delivered into this world. Now, if they don't have any kind of spiritual orientation, it's terrible. If they think there's a God, and say there can't be a God or he's a terrible demon, well, they're assuming they know what's best. It could be, and I'm just conjecturing now, that the baby would have some serious problems, some serious defect, spiritually, mentally, physically, we don't know. Or it just could be, I'm just saying potentially, I'm not going to try to explain it away. It's a loss and a trauma, I understand that. At the same time, it depends, it's a test of faith. Now, one of the thoughts I use that could be very helpful to those who wish to use it, God, I'm extremely grateful for the gift of trials and tribulations that bring me closer to you. God, I'm extremely grateful for the gift of trials and tribulations that bring me closer to you.
Mm-hmm.
So a person could say, I went through this, and then turn to God more, as in any tragedy, turn to God more. And, or if the faith wasn't strong, and then they just turn against God. Well, they may not turn all their lives, but it could be a period where they're just angry with God.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, depends whether you think God's a loving, merciful God. So it could be very merciful, an act of mercy, because maybe there's a reason that happened, unbeknownst to us. I'm not saying there is a reason. I'm saying there could be a reason that there was going to be something terrible happening to that child. Let's say, for example, just hypothetically, I'm sure it doesn't apply to anybody that we know. Let's say a child is 5 years old and gets raped, mutilated, and killed, strangled to death. That's a terrible thing to happen for anybody, 4 or 5 years old. Now, let's say, would it have been better for that child to have left in the womb or to have lived to experience that? I can't judge, but certainly there's a lot to be said for leaving it while you're in the womb than going through that. I'm not saying that would have happened. I'm just saying we don't know. Was there a divine wisdom or was it just an accident? I'm certainly in no position to judge, but anybody who has a strong faith will believe there was a divine wisdom in it, and we just trust in God. For those who can. Now, there's some people who say that's just a fiction. That's just trying to make yourself feel better. Whatever they want to say, I understand that and I respect their position. But from a spiritual point of view, this is a good way to approach it. For those that can. Not everybody can approach it that way, but this is doable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
all things work together for good. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, like, all that stuff happened, and I was like questioning God, like, why is this happening, And I would start praying, and I would like cry myself to sleep. And then I got pregnant with my son like 2 months later.
I want to tell you something. Glad you mentioned that. So we had a miscarriage. My wife, as I mentioned, I had 4 before my stepson, and I had 4 with my ex. And then we had one child. And then my wife was pregnant. And we had a miscarriage. Very depressed about it. I wrote a poem about it. It was a big loss. Then we got pregnant again, maybe 6 months later. And we got my baby girl, Natasha, who's now 27 years old, an attorney, and just a beautiful human being. So I say that when Natasha has talked about, well, Mom had that miscarriage, I said, it wasn't for the miscarriage, sweetheart. You wouldn't be here. We weren't going to have any more. So the passing of your brother or sister, your sibling, you came along. And what a gift you are. So I'm not saying this applies across the board. I'm just saying if we hadn't lost that child, my darling Natasha would not be here, and she's an amazing child. Unbelievable. So we wouldn't have had her. And I don't know who the other child would have been. Maybe it would have been respectful, maybe not respectful. Who knows? So I know it made room for my darling Natasha to be here.
Right.
So good did come out of it.
Yeah.
All I can say is if you look for the good, you'll find it. You look for the bad, you're going to find that too.
Yeah.
Whatever loss we have in life, it's really a loss and it's tragic. No way around it. But if you really look closely, you say, what's the best true story I can tell myself about this? What's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? You'll get one. You'll see that there's some gain, no matter how horrible it is. And I've talked about this in many of my videos. There is a gain. I mean, time and time again, I've talked about that with other people, with myself. When my father passed away, it was the biggest loss in my life, by far. But the gain was there too. I wrote a book, Upon My Father's Passing, The Loss and the Gain. What was the gain? It made me a lot stronger because I couldn't rely on him anymore. I got much, much stronger. My mother got much stronger too because he was a powerful guy. We all leaned on him. We had to stand on our own 2 feet. It was a great gift for us that he went on. And of course, he's doing better on the other side. And the gain was there. The loss was real, the biggest of my life at that point. And the gain was there. So if I could say that about my own father and losing him, which was, I'll tell you how severe it was for me. I had to get on a plane to go to Toronto to the funeral. I had a phobia about flying. I mean, it didn't stop me from flying. I got on a plane, I went, and I didn't care if the plane crashed. I said, well, if the plane crashed, that's great. I'll be with Dad. So over that my father's death was how I overcame my plane phobia. I've flown many times since, many times. Never feared it again, even though I don't want it to crash anymore. But in that flight, I wouldn't have cared. Now I care a lot, but I overcame it. I overcame the phobia I had. So there was the best true story. I wrote a book about it. It's on the website, honesttherapy.com, Upon My Father's Passing. I talk about the loss and the gain. So some people may not want to hear that, but when you're going through these things, there is a gain. Sometimes you don't know what it is. Who knew that the gain from losing my baby with my wife would make room for my next child to come, Natasha? I didn't know that. I had no idea what was coming. So.
Yeah. And I just want to say thank you for everything. Me and my husband are finally getting married in October.
Mazel tov, Mubarak, wonderful.
Me working so much was kind of drifting us away. So, we have 3 kids together. So,
wow.
We made that decision to to get married and everything.
Well,
we've been engaged for 4 years. Actually, we've been together for 18.
Wow. Let me tell you about somebody getting married. Some people say, well, it doesn't really matter because you were spiritually and emotionally married. And it's just a piece of paper. There's a lot of truth in that. But I tell you what's more meaningful. Not getting married. Not getting married has a meaning to it. Why aren't you getting married? It's the parents would like that better. Please different people. So not getting married is a state you wonder, puts a question mark. So there are people who are living together, and that's beautiful. It's really a spiritual marriage, an emotional marriage. And I'm sure there's a good reason why you haven't had an official marriage. But at the same time, when people do make that step, it puts to rest the question, why aren't they getting married? So that's, either way, there could be beautiful relationships, beautiful. So there's no way to disparage people who have not got married. But when you make that step, that's a good step of commitment. That's a beautiful thing. Well, it took a while, but still, I'm sure your parents appreciate it, or his parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Yeah, Hugh.
When my mom had her near-death experience, she met the 2 children she miscarried.
Wow, that's huge. Hugh just said when his mom was his mom had been on, I guess, with an operating table. She had a near-death experience. This is being clinically dead for a little bit, and she met 2 of her children that died in her pregnancy. She met them. A lot of these near-death experience things. she met the unborn children. That's amazing, Hugh. What did she say about them? She said it was 2 boys. Wow. Well, there you have it. Near-death experience, clinically dead. I have a friend that was clinically dead. He flatlined 3 times when he had some surgery. And he saw his mother, who had passed away a few years earlier. He recognized it was kind of a light. She came and intervened, saying to please spare his life. He didn't see God, but he did see his mother. And so these things happen in near-death experiences. It's real. It's real. Well, that's a beautiful story from Hugh and Hugh's mom. Wow. Who else has something you want to ask or say before we conclude?
I'll say one thing, Dr. Nerenberg.
Yes,
Thank you. So much love and respect for you. You know, you have so much trials and errors in your life that you can share them with us.
Hey, the key word is errors. Yeah, that's the key. That's the key word.
Hey, we're not perfect, man. I know that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much. Between you and Bert, I am so thankful.
Yeah, Bert's a great man. Yeah, Bert's a great man.
With what you have to say. I've gone through a lot too, but I respect and love you.
I respect and love you, and I'm grateful.
From a man to a man. Thank you.
I take as a man to a man. I hear the respect, and that's mutual. Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome, brother. You know, that kind of expression between men is vital. I believe in that strong brotherhood. Of course, you're my younger brother by many years, but still a brother. I believe in that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, Jesus Christ has a big influence on me, and you're my brother because
brothers in Christ.
That's right.
You know, I have a video on honor therapy called Jesus Christ, the Perfect Teacher of Honor. I have 6 lectures called Seekers of Light of Jesus Christ on the website. I also have 6 lectures, Seekers of Light of Torah, which is the Old Testament, on the website. So definitely, that's a beautiful feeling you have. Beautiful. And I'm going to remember what you said. That meant a lot to me.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. It's been truly my privilege and my pleasure to be here with you this evening and to present to you Enhancing Body Image for Postpartum Women. I'm grateful to have been here. Bye for now.
The sea of destiny is in your deepest struggle. God's will and mine be one, and I wish you well. You are co-creator, respectfully real. There's a way in the valley that turns weakness to steel. We're known through all eternity, from strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow. I pledge my love all the days of my life. I pledge my soul to all that is good. others who I join in the light, leave a legacy of honor. We're known through all eternity, from strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow.